It is my great pleasure to welcome today as our special guest Runa Magnusdottir. Runa, you're really a serial and what you call yourself a lifetime entrepreneur, and you were born and raised and you're living now in Iceland if you're not traveling the world, training people on branding, leadership and entrepreneurship, which you say about yourself you absolutely love to do. And that's something that we have in common, Runa.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. Runa is the founder of Connected Women, a global platform that is really promoting women entrepreneurs and their brands. And she is really a brand expert. She is the co-founder of BRANDit, which is a branding program that has been awarded even by the European Union as one of the best branding programs around. And Runa, you're also a founding and steering committee member of ATL, the Association of Transformational Leaders in Europe. And you also are the creator of the Leadership and Personal Development program, which you call Discover Your X Factor, which is a leadership program designed for people that really stand at a crossroad in their life, helping them to really find the new path to walk on, right?
True.
And you're really a branding expert, and that is one of the reasons why I invited you today. Of course, because I would like you to share your inspirational story of how you became such a really successful entrepreneur and wholehearted entrepreneur, and building program after program and business after business and platform after platform. And at the same time, I'd like you to actually give our audience really powerful hints on how can they build a company vision and how can they build a brand, especially early in the startup, of their own business, so that they can rocket their own ideas into enterprise. This is really a show for people that are either thinking about starting their business or are just starting it. So keep that in mind when we talk about branding. And what I've seen on your website, you basically have three main topics. One is called motivation, inspiration, and success. So I'd like to invite you again, what do these words mean to you? And maybe just introduce yourself a little bit to our audience. Welcome, Runa, to our show today.
Thank you so much, Monique. And thank you for this really wonderful opportunity to be part of your show today, which I am truly honored. Going to the motivation, inspiration, success. This is actually the three words that I most often hear from my clients, that they felt by working with me that they were motivated, they were inspired, and that gave them success. So when I was actually putting up my website, I thought, okay, what is it that what do they most often say to me that I'm giving them? And those were the three words. So I put it up, and it actually at the same time, when I read it, it motivates me. It inspires me and it gives me the energy to help people to do whatever it is that they want to do in life.
I love it, and I can feel the energy and behind these words, and they motivate and inspire me right away. And Runa, I just wonder, have you always been an entrepreneur, or how did you get to where you are today?
Recently, I discovered, when I was searching for the same question, I discovered that very likely this comes from probably a young age of 7, 8 years old. At that time, I do remember making up my mind that I was going to be an independent woman. And I think that subconsciously, that's where I basically has always been heading. My first job after leaving college was actually working at the Ministry of Culture and Education. I was the minister's secretary, private secretary, which the minister happened to be a woman, which was a really joyful thing for me. And I also had the opportunity at a young age to work for a corporation in the computer world. So I have a couple of years of experience working, not being independent. So I know a little bit what it is. But I think that this core element of being independent, stand and fall by myself on my own behavior and actions, is something that is just really important to me. And that, and of course, a lot of encouragements from my parents has gave me the belief that I can I can do this.
It sounds great. And Runa, what was actually your first business that you built, and how did you get started? That's always one of the questions that our, audience is very interested in finding out. How did other people do it?
Very likely my very, very, very first business was probably selling something on the street. I don't think that I registered the company at that time, but my first registered business was involved with my mom. She actually was the one that started the business, and I then later bought her business. And I have since then set up several businesses. So that actually I developed from starting up with my mom. She is a big influencer in my life, really huge role model. And so that's how it started for me.
And I wonder, what were the first critical steps? Of course, you bought a business from your mom that was already a running business, but other businesses that you started, what were the most critical steps for you to take? And was branding one of them?
I think at the time, like we all do, because of brand, and we will probably go into that for a little bit later on, but I was branding it. I maybe was not branding it really consciously, but as my character and the things that I bring to the table is and will always be part of the brand that I'm building up, then obviously that was the brand that I was building up. So I think that later on, it wasn't really till I started with Connected Women that I started to think really about branding in particularly. And it was a little bit of an aha moment for myself at the time, because I set up this global platform for women entrepreneurs, and I wanted to be like someone who would not have a picture of me. There would be the logo, the Connected Women logo that I would use like a front. And I remember it really, really distinctly when a friend of mine, we were having this discussion, and a friend of mine, she said to me, Runa, this is so wrong. You are Connected Women, and you should show your face, and you are representing it anyway, and you should be out there because people will link to you. And I remember it so well, and I think this is actually something that all entrepreneurs feel, is taking yourself out there is a huge thing. You kind of like, oh my God, am I going to be exposed here? And all of these things, all of these thoughts that pop up in your mind. But as a matter of fact, when I did take the step, that's when really things started to happen. And I really felt that when I for instance, just one short story, when I took the logo of my Twitter account and I put my face and I started to tweet as a person, not like a corporation, that's when people started to interact with me. That's when I started to create relationships. That's when other people started to come to me and say, can we collaborate on things? Can we work on things together? Or that's it really where things turn. And then that's why I think that when you take that step and you show your audience who you are, they get attached. And I so remember how, it was a little bit difficult doing it, but it's like with every step you take, once you take the step, it's like, oh, was that it? Was it really that hard? So it's really about just taking the leap. And actually, just to follow this, shortly after I did this with Twitter account, I got listed on Forbes. So it definitely works.
Yes, that's an amazing story. That Forbes said that you were one of the best women to follow with your messages as well. How did you make that happen?
It's like with everything. It's people are following you, and those people are from all aspects of the world. And in this case, it was someone who was writing for Forbes.
Wonderful. And your Connected Women platform, that was, one of the businesses that you really started from scratch.
Yeah.
How did you get that started? Because right now you have people from all over the world on there. It's incredible. It's a hugely successful platform that makes people visible and, brands them and connects them and so on. How did you get that started?
The idea started simply when I was attending a conference, an international conference for professional women. It was held in Seoul, Korea, back in 2005. At that time, I was running another business, but the idea popped up because I was at this conference where 1,000 women from all over the world attended. There was a little exhibition. There were women from Africa, America, in basically all continents who came there with their goods, who were selling their goods and introducing their services and the whole lot. And I wanted to be able to contact them after the conference, but I had no ways to do that. Yes, I could collect their business cards. At that time, even many of them didn't even have an email or a website. So I thought, wow, wouldn't that be fantastic if there would be actually just one platform where you can continue to connect after a conference like this, and you can make something more out of a conference of which is in this case 1,000 women. And so that was basically the idea that popped up in 2005. Then I was in this business, and later I sold the business. So in 2007, when I really stood in front of the question, Runa, what are you going to do when you grow up? That actually thing popped up again, and I thought, okay, what can I do with this? And like with all ideas that we have, and I always encourage people who are creative and get all these ideas to write them down and write them down in a book, because then one day you will go and pick in your book again. Yeah, I thought about this one, and what can I do about that? So I started it then, and that has evolved. And today, actually, Connected Women is part of my blog, because one of the things that I'm really passionate about is to get the voice, help women in particularly to promote their brand and promote themselves. So this is part of my blog today. Connected Women blog is interviewing women, posting in there, sending it out to my network, and creating an awareness around them. I think it's really important. We need more strong women in this business world.
Absolutely, we do, Runa, and you are one of them. And you created this program called BRANDit, right?
Yes.
And that even won a prestigious award from the EU, being one of the greatest branding programs, which is amazing. What do people that join that program, what do they take away from it? What are you, teaching them? What are the key messages on the program?
We got the EU Win Award for the program in the category Capacity Builder. I believe that the whole reason for we got the award was how different this program is to so many other training programs. BRANDit is a program where it's mixture of a heavy day of workshop where you're working on where's your passion, what are your strengths, what are you known for, and how do you actually put everything that is you, the corners of you, into one sentence or two, basically what we call personal branding statement. And so that was one day where we work on that. And then we take the statement the second day and we convert it into professionally edited video, photography. Basically, we take the person and we really brand them. We all know how important it is to have a good photo of yourself on social networks or wherever you are sending out information to people when you're building up a company. And so we thought having a really good professional photo, having a video that is less than a minute long, that you can actually put alongside when you're introducing yourself, is all part of a marketing materials that are really valuable. So, and actually our last final product in the BRANDit program is an online magazine where the videos go automatic on. Many people say when they are flipping the magazine online and video pops up, they say, oh my God, I thought I'd landed at Harry Potter's movie or something. So it was a lot of inspiration that people felt by flipping the magazine with all the participants. Each one of them got a full 2 pages with nice photos, short introduction of who they are and what are their business all about, and links to the website, the whole lot. So this is why we got the award, I think, at least. It was that it was different from other programs. We combined training with marketing materials and a result.
Great, and I think this is very, very powerful when you get your business started. And I know it's a challenge for a lot of startup entrepreneurs to really get their message to the point. Can you maybe share with us your personal branding statement? What is yours? And how can people define theirs? Maybe you can give some steps on how people can get started to craft their major message.
That is a fantastic question, Monique, because you have different statement for different people. So, and I think as well that, you often hear the thing about elevator pitch, and you really have to be good at telling your elevator pitch so that it comes out naturally. You sometimes, or I've probably you've noticed it as well. You see people that they say it and they kind of like stutter on it, so you feel, oh, this is prepared. This doesn't really just come from the heart. So when I'm introducing myself, I say that I'm a leadership and personal branding coach and consultant, and I help people discover who they really are and what it is that they really want to do. And I could say that to one person, but then I prefer, if I can, when I'm meeting new people, to listen first to them so that I know where they are and I can add into the value that I think from our discussion could add something into their lives. So then I just changed it a little bit, knowing, I think when you really know who you are, what it is that you're doing and whom you're talking to, when you're really clear on that, the rest comes because it just flows. And you feel you have the confidence that it just flows with you. And I think at the same time, as a receiver, when you talk to someone who is just naturally him or herself and talking about their values or the value that they bring to the table, is just a natural thing. It doesn't sound like it's cocky or over promoting or over glamorous. That's the thing that I think most people really get attracted to, don't you think?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, when they feel that it is authentic and that's really you, and if the words fit the appearance and everything, absolutely, it has to be.
It has to be, yeah.
And I know it might be a little bit of a challenging question, Runa, but I'd like our audience to really take a couple of hints away on how they can craft their own personal branding statement. Mm-hmm. Can you maybe, without using a name, can you maybe just take an example of one of your clients that you helped either in the program or outside of the program? What questions did you ask them? What questions can people ask themselves to start crafting that message for them?
Think about what you're passionate about. That is one thing. So what is it really that you are passionate about? And think about the people that you really would like to serve. What are they? Where are they? What are they doing? So if you think about those two things and the outcome that you want to give them, and you start to twiddling around a little bit those three things, then you start to get the picture there. One of the things that I think have helped so many people is when I ask them, what do most people say about you? Or what is it that you hear most often other people say about you? And that is something that we often don't even pay attention to, because I bet, Monique, that you get the similar things from people all around you. They say similar things to you, and you think, well, what's so special about that? Because that's what you are, and it's effortless for you to deliver that. It's just, you've done it so many times that you can do it blindfolded, right? It's you. So think about those things, because that's the thing that you feel most comfortable doing. And so when you take that all into one thing, you can even create a sentence. And I remember one client of mine who used that. Most people say about me is that I am their comfort zone. That was her personal brand statement, which is really interesting, because what happens when you hear that? You're their comfort zone? Wasn't that? And they said, tell me more. What do you do? So you have an opportunity to say more. In this case, it was a person that she discovered and she understood that giving service to her clients is something that was hugely important for her. And she did everything in her power to make people feel really at ease, calm, pleasant around her. They were in their comfort zone.
I love how you're describing that, and there's one simple tool we can all use for whoever is on LinkedIn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there you have a lot of activities that people place on you where they say, you know, Runa is great about branding, Monique is great about startups and entrepreneurship and so on.
Yeah.
Very easy what people tick, right?
Yeah.
So that gives you also an indication.
It is. It definitely is. And you're referring to the endorsements on LinkedIn, right? Yeah. Definitely. If you are not clear what it is that you want to be known for, then you might get something totally different than what you actually want to build yourself on.
Runa, there's one question I'd like to ask you, because I know a lot of people have in their mind that branding is something for big organizations. But I think you and I agree on saying, no, branding is something that you do from the first moment on. Would you agree? And what would you say about that?
As I am all in the inside, what you call internal branding, the person who is behind the brand, the company brand. As you and I and all the rest of us, we are a brand. We have a character. And if you think about a brand, if you think about a big brand, let's say Apple, then Apple has a certain character. There are some pictures that pop up in our mind when we think about the brand Apple. We see the beautiful design. We see they're always one step ahead. We can trust that they're one step ahead when it comes to design. And so there is a certain trust that we put into the brand, that they will deliver this, they won't deliver that. And the same thing goes with the person, that we are a character. And it is because we've been living with ourselves from the moment we were born. So it is often difficult to discover what sort of a character really am I, and how do I represent that in my business as well. And not even to mention, if you are an entrepreneur, or you're thinking about to start a company and you're with other people, then you need to combine. What is it that combines you as characters that will be then represented easily for everyone in the brand, in the company brand? And that is actually a process that's quite interesting. And I'm working with a business branding specialist to help people take it from who am I to how do I represent that in the business. So that's really interesting process. But it's you. It's definitely you, who you are. What are you passionate about? What is it where are you going? All of these things that just basically shows the outcome of the brand. And I often, just to add a little bit on that, because I often get the question, well, I am here now, but I don't know if I'm going to be in this place for the next 2 or 3 years. I might move to some other areas, and that is fine. That is absolutely fine. We are evolving as a person, and if you look at all these big business brands out there, they are evolving themselves. But there's always something that is the core thing of every business brand. And it's the same thing with you. It's the core thing of you.
I love that. And You mentioned that there is a process of defining a brand, and I'd like to know more about that. And I'd like to link it with another question. What are the elements of, that represent your brand, your appearance, and so on? What should people have in place when they get their business started? Things like, having a website, having a picture, choosing colors, choosing a logo. I think, branding is probably a scary topic for a lot of startup entrepreneurs in a way.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say would they have to have in place early to really start representing themselves as a brand?
It could go down to just having a business Facebook site if that's where they really want to start with. But I guess I agree with you. Having a business card, I don't think that is so important to have a logo immediately. If you can do that financially, great. But then start to think about immediately your colors. And colors, all the thing about colors is it's really interesting. And if you Google brands and colors, you see all types of different even infographics that come up. And they are interesting because color have certain things in our mind. So a red represents fast, passion, when black represents sophisticated, and etc., etc. So I think you both have to think about what is it that I am naturally, and then what is it that I want to represent? How do I want my brand to be perceived? And I personally think the more authentic you can be there, that it's just so naturally you, the more trust and transparency just shines through. And that's the thing that people, they don't realize it, but that's the thing that they get attached to. It's the authenticness, that we just feel that this is someone that I really trust. So if you want to have the black color of sophistication, but you are really an easygoing person, and you're really that sophisticated, people will feel that when you're faking it. So if that is really important for you to do the black thing and be sophisticated, then start to work on the process that it really becomes you and everything that you do.
And how can you start working on that process, Runa?
You, like with every startup, you just start with the beginning. But I think when it comes to colors, when it comes to fonts, when it comes to that thing that you are going to represent, give yourself a little time to think about the character. What is this brand going to represent? What is it that the client can trust that this character will deliver? Is this a character that is happy-go-lucky, will give you a spontaneous reply? Is it a character that will be, as I said again, a character that is always very, let's say, just talks proper English, or has a nice logo around it that shows something that is like a glamorous thing? So, and often when I'm helping my clients out on this thing is to ask them, okay, if you were a car, what sort of a car would you be? And you can think about, there's one thing, what sort of a car do I want to be? And then what sort of a car am I really? And then you can start to, once you know where you are and where you're heading, you can start to work on the differences and build on from that.
Right. And Runa, you mentioned a list of colors and what the meaning is to those colors. Would you mind sharing a list with us that we can share them with our audience?
There are so many different methodologies around this. However, so I always say to people, Google it and find really the thing that resonates with you. There are ways that you can really discover this. When I'm working on 360 brand assessment with my clients, we go through this. It really shines through when going through this 360 assessment. What sort of a character are we talking about? And we can then decide, do I want to represent that in my colors as well, and which color do I want to use? As an example, red seems to be my color. And so I use red, dark red, in a lot of the things that I'm doing. And it's not like everything is red around me, but I would maybe use, if it's the text, there's maybe one letter would be red somewhere. Something that is like consistent, because of one of the things when you're building a brand is to be consistent in the process, because you don't really know when people will need your service or your products. But when you are consistently showing them the same thing again and again, when I say the same thing, it's not like the same advert or the same blog or whatever, but I'm basically saying it has the same feeling, then you are in their minds, you're building something up in other people's minds, and that's the thing that they will start to talk about, and that's the thing that they will start to talk about with their friends or colleagues or whatever. So you will be popping up in people's minds for that thing, and that's when people start to come to you and say, I heard blah 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 blah.
Yes. And Runa, there is a question, because you said we should think about what character do we want to be. Is there a difference between branding if I'm a solo entrepreneur or if I'm an organization with a team and so on behind it?
I think the difference is definitely probably the budget. But as a solo entrepreneur, and I've done that, it's basically the same process. And often when you're a solo entrepreneur, the beauty about that is that you have to even create something that is less budget, more creative. And being a solo entrepreneur is in so many cases so interesting, because there are very likely someone in your network that has the ability to really create something for you that is brilliant, and you can work with them really closely to discover to the design of your business card or website or whatever it is that you want to create. And at this stage, you often can trade services. I'm not for that, but I just know that is something that happened so many times with the solo entrepreneurs. They have less budget and they say, listen, I love what you're doing. You're a graphic designer. Can you help me with this? And in return, I will help you with that. And that is, I know that it doesn't give you the bread on the table, but it definitely is a way that I see so many solo entrepreneurs start with. And so it's a bit of a give and take there. But definitely the process is basically the same.
Great. Well, Runa, thanks for all the hints and suggestions you have given us so far. I'd like to invite you to summarize our conversation by telling us again, what are the key elements of having a powerful brand in place that we have to have when we're getting a business started, especially?
Be clear on who you are and what it is that you are offering. Clarity is so important, because clarity is something that will, like I was saying before, when you consistently and constantly are telling people who you are and what it is that you want to do, that's the thing that they will trust, and that's the thing that they will come to you because of the clarity. I know one of the biggest thing that we entrepreneurs, and I am so with you there, is to think that our service is so fantastic, which it is, don't forget that everybody needs it. This is something that entrepreneurs, we just have to believe that, yes, our service is so fantastic and our products is so fantastic, but it just serves us so much better if we have the courage to narrow the niche. Who is it that I'm talking to? and talk to that person that you then have written down and you have described it for you in your own mind. Who is it really that I'm talking to? Who is it really that needs my service? And the more you do that, the clearer you become on your service. And another thing that I notice so often, and when people really go there and they are clear, they go and they talk clearly to their niche, the niche will start to talk about them to people outside the niche. So it doesn't mean that you're going to lose clients somewhere down the line. You're absolutely not. You're just going to be really well known within your client group, within your niche. And that's the thing, to be a big fish in a small pot, or be a small fish in a big pot.
I know what you're talking about, because I was a small fish in a big pot, and now I'm a big fish in a very small pot as an entrepreneur. So, Runa, maybe a last question to you. I know that being an entrepreneur, as I know that from every entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur has made probably a big difference to your life and has impacted your life in many ways. How has it impacted your life, and what are your key success principles for being, a thriving, successful entrepreneur?
Wow, that is a big question. I think my key success has been every single steps that I have dared to be me. I see myself and I see other people as onions, and they have all these layers. And the more you take the layer of the onion and you go into the core of that onion, and you dare to show to your clients and to the world that coreness, has been really when I have taken another step into what at least I felt that I've been more successful. And another step, and another step. So working on my own self-development around the things that I'm doing, to continuously believe that what it is that I'm doing has a purpose and is a solution for other people out there. That's really has been the key thing for me. When you're not feeling that that success is really as fast as you thought it would be, that's when you really have to go back and think, okay, why am I doing this? What is it that really lights my fire so that I can go up every morning feeling really fresh and thinking, okay, I'm going to do this today because what I'm doing, the service that I'm giving, the value, the gift that I have is an important gift for other people out there. And I'm going to stick with my plan so that my gift can become a reality.
I love that. Great words to a big question. Well, Runa, it was wonderful to have you on with us today, and some of our people that watch us might be very interested to ask you their personal questions and find out more about branding their business. How can they get in touch with you?
Well, I've welcomed them to obviously look at my website, runamagnus.com, and as well pop me a question. Either on my website there's a contact form, and I will be happy to answer them personally. I am setting up an online program that will be launched in the end of August. So there is always something going on, apart from obviously my speaking engagements and my training that I'm so fortunate to be asked to do worldwide. So definitely stay in touch. That's the best thing, and not to hesitate to pop me a question if there is anything that I can help you with.
Yes, and I'm also running these online trainings for people that want to get their business started, to guide them step by step through the process. And I hope that we will have you on such a program as well to share
fantastic.
Your wisdom with entrepreneurs directly, right?
That would be absolutely fantastic.
Great. Well, Runa, it's been wonderful to have you on, and I let you say the last words of wisdom, not without saying a big thank you once more, and also hoping to have you back sometime, because I know that branding is not the only topic you're an expert in, and I'm sure we have other topics to discuss at some point. So what are your last words of wisdom that you'd like to close this call with?
The last word is to think about what Audrey Hepburn said. Impossible or I am possible. Exactly the same thing. It's just how you decide to look at it. I choose to look at it as I am possible, and I encourage you to do the same.